The year is 2010. The Saints have just won Super Bowl 44. They have a good duo in Sean Payton and Drew Brees in his prime. There's potentially a dynasty in the making, and the future is bright. Now, you fast forward to 2025, and you have a franchise that is directionless and has no clear identity. How did this happen? This video takes a deep dive into the downfall of the Saints post Super Bowl 44. After their Super Bowl win, the Saints went 11-5 and were a wildcard team in 2010. The offense fell from 1st to 11th in points scored. Drew Brees threw 22 interceptions, which was the second most in the NFL that season. While the offense dipped in performance, their defense improved from 20th to 7th in points allowed. They looked primed for a deep playoff run. In the wildcard game, they had to go up against the 7-9 NFC West champion Seattle Seahawks. Most experts predicted that the Saints would win. However, they were shocked by Seattle losing 41-36. The play of the game was the Beast Quake, where Marshawn Lynch scored a powerful touchdown run in the fourth quarter to put the game in Seattle's control. Overall, it was a disappointing end to the season. In 2011, the Saints would go 13-3 and win the NFC South. Drew Brees led the second-best offense in the league in terms of points scored. He had 46 touchdown passes and broke Dan Marino's passing record at the time. Free agent acquisition Darren Sproles broke the NFL record for all-purpose yards. The Saints would also see the emergence of second-year tight end Jimmy Graham, who caught over 1,300 yards and had 11 touchdowns. In the playoffs, the Saints were the number 3 seed and had to face the Detroit Lions in the wild card round. They would beat the Lions 45-28. Drew Brees would throw for over 450 yards and have 3 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. The Saints had over 600 yards of total offense. In the next round, the Saints had to travel to face the number 2 seed San Francisco 49ers. Early on, New Orleans gave the football away 3 times, which led them facing a 17-0 deficit in the second quarter. The Saints would battle and eventually take the lead 24-23 with 4:03 left in the fourth quarter. The 49ers would then respond with a touchdown drive of their own to retake the lead 29-24 with 2:11 left. A Jimmy Graham 66-yard touchdown and 2-point conversion would give the Saints a 32-29 lead with 1:37 left. However, their defense would give up the game-winning touchdown to Vernon Davis with 9 seconds left. It was a crushing 36-32 loss for New Orleans. Before the 2012 season began, the Saints defense were found to be participating in a bounty program where players tried to injure the other team for bonuses. This program lasted from the 2009 to 2011 seasons and was masterminded by defensive coordinator Greg Williams. As a result of this scandal known as Bountygate, the NFL issued sanctions to Saints coaches and front office personnel. The following sanctions were given. Defensive coordinator Greg Williams, who left the team after the season, was suspended indefinitely. Head coach Sean Payton was suspended for the entire 2012 season. General manager Mickey Loomis was suspended for the first 8 games of the 2012 season. Assistant coach Joe Witt was suspended for the first 6 games of the 2012 season. In addition to these sanctions, the Saints were fined $500,000 and had to forfeit their second-round draft picks in 2012 and 2013. During the 2012 season, the Saints would go 7-9 and miss the playoffs. They would have the 3rd best offense in the league, and Drew Brees would throw for over 5,000 yards and have 43 touchdown passes. The problem was their defense. They were second to last in points allowed and had a historically bad defense in yards allowed. The team was clearly distracted from the Bountygate scandal. Before the 2013 season, Sean Payton was reinstated by the NFL. The Saints would have a much better season, finishing 11-5 and clinching the number 6 seed in the NFC. The offense was ranked 10th in points scored, while the defense with new coordinator Rob Ryan was much improved as they were the 4th best team in terms of points allowed. While they went undefeated at home, they only went 3-5 on the road. They had last-minute losses versus the Patriots and the Panthers, which prevented them from getting a first-round bye. In the first round of the playoffs, New Orleans would travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. The Saints would jump out to a 20-7 lead in the third quarter. The Eagles would eventually battle their way back to take the lead 24-23 in the fourth quarter. New Orleans would then score the game-winning field goal with no time left to win the game 26-24. It was the first road playoff win in Saints franchise history. In the divisional round, New Orleans would face the number 1 seed Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks' defense dominated the Saints and had a commanding 16-0 lead early into the fourth quarter. New Orleans would eventually score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to cut the lead 16-8. Late in the fourth quarter, the Saints would give up a critical third down conversion and touchdown run to make the game 23-8. New Orleans would score another touchdown to make it 23-15. They would also recover an onside kick with 26 seconds left, giving them a slim chance to tie the game or take the lead. On the last play of the game, Marquise Colston would make a catch and throw an illegal forward lateral to end the game. It was another road playoff loss for the Saints. In 2014, the Saints would go 7-9 and miss the playoffs. The offense finished 9th in points scored. However, the defense would finish 28th in points allowed. In 2015, the Saints would once again go 7-9 and miss the playoffs. This time, the offense finished 8th in points scored. The problem was once again the defense, as they had the worst defense in the league in terms of points allowed. In 2016, the Saints would go 7-9 and miss the playoffs again. Their offense finished 2nd in points scored. What do you guys think the problem was? That's right, they had the 2nd worst defense in terms of points allowed. New Orleans had wasted 3 straight years of Drew Brees in his prime, all because they couldn't manage to produce an average defense. In 2017, the Saints would improve a lot. They would go 11-5, win the NFC South, and earn the number 3 seed. New Orleans would have the 4th best scoring offense and the 10th best scoring defense. One of the reasons why the Saints had a strong year is their 2017 draft class. They had one of the greatest draft classes in NFL history. Cornerback Marshawn Lattimore would win Defensive Rookie of the Year, while running back Alvin Kamara would win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Tackle Ryan Ramczyk, safety Marcus Williams, linebacker Alex Anzalone, and outside linebacker Trey Hendrickson would be consistent starters for the Saints for years to come. In addition to the rookies performing well, they would get strong contributions from longtime running back Mark Ingram, who had over 1,500 yards from scrimmage, and second-year wide receiver Michael Thomas, who caught over 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. Drew Brees would complete a league-high 72% of his passes, and defensive end Cameron Jordan would be named first-team All-Pro. With a combination of young and veteran talent, the Saints looked primed for a deep playoff run. In the wildcard round, the Saints would go up against the Panthers. It was a back-and-forth game going into the fourth quarter. Late in the fourth quarter, up 31-26, New Orleans had a chance to put the game away with a 4th down conversion. They would fail and give the Panthers a chance to take the lead. Carolina would drive inside the opposing 25-yard line. The Saints' defense would then make a stand to end the game. In the divisional round, the Saints would go on the road to face the number 2 seed Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings would get out to a 17-0 lead and hold it late into the third quarter. New Orleans would score a touchdown to make it 17-7. They would get an interception, which would set up another touchdown to make it 17-14. Minnesota would add a field goal to make the game 20-14. The Saints would block a punt, setting up another short field touchdown to take their first lead of the game, making it 21-20. Minnesota would kick a field goal to take a 23-21 lead with 1:29 left. New Orleans would drive down the field and kick a field goal to take a 24-23 lead with 25 seconds left. The Vikings would face a 3rd and 10 with 10 seconds left. All the Saints had to do was keep everything in balance. Then this happened.
steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it!
Once again, the Saints would have a crushing postseason loss. Before the 2018 season began, Saints owner Tom Benson passed away in March. He's known for keeping the team in New Orleans and transforming it into a winning organization. After his passing, his wife, Gail Benson, would inherit control of the Saints. This inheritance comes with a backstory. Back in December 2014, at a Saints home game, there was a physical altercation between Gail Benson and Tom's granddaughter, Rita Benson LeBlanc. This would lead to Tom sending a letter to Rita's brother, Ryan, her mother, Renee, and Rita herself, who are referred to as the 3 R's. The letter would inform them that they were no longer allowed to operate in his business affairs and that he no longer wanted to have any further contact with them. In January 2015, Tom would formally remove the 3 R's from his business, leading to lawsuits alleging that he was mentally unfit and being manipulated by Gail. Eventually, in June 2015, the judges would rule that he was mentally fit and the lawsuits were dismissed. In May 2016, a Louisiana court would deny a petition to hear an appeal regarding Tom's competency. Later, in February 2017, a confidential legal settlement was agreed upon. That gets us back to March 2018. The details of the will were publicly revealed and affirmed that Gail Benson would inherit the Saints franchise. The 3 R's were not included. There were other previous settlements where the 3 R's would get valuable properties from Tom Benson. The Saints would go 13-3 during the 2018 season. As a team, they would have the 3rd best scoring offense and the 14th best scoring defense. They would win the NFC South and earn the number 1 seed. Drew Brees would throw 32 touchdown passes to 5 interceptions and lead the league with a 74.4 completion percentage. He would also lead the league with 6 fourth-quarter comebacks and 7 game-winning drives. He would finish second in the MVP voting. In terms of other contributors, Michael Thomas would have another great season. He had over 1,400 yards of receiving, led the league with 145 receptions, and made first-team All-Pro. Alvin Kamara would have over 1,500 yards from scrimmage and earned Pro Bowl nods. Cam Jordan had 12 sacks and made second-team All-Pro. In the divisional round of the playoffs, the Saints had to go up against the Eagles. New Orleans would have a slow start to the game, and they would trail 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. The offense would battle their way back to a 20-14 lead, thanks to strong performances by Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, and Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas would have 12 receptions for 171 yards. With 3:03 left, they had a chance to put the game away with a 52-yard field goal. Will Lutz would miss, giving the Eagles an opportunity to steal the game. The Eagles would drive inside the opposing 30-yard line, but a crucial Alshon Jeffrey drop would lead to a game-ending interception by Marshawn Lattimore. The Saints would advance to their first NFC Championship game since they won the Super Bowl. In the NFC Championship game, the Saints went up against the Rams. This time, New Orleans would have a fast start and get out to a 13-0 lead. The Rams clawed their way back to make it 13-10. The game then went back and forth, with each team getting touchdowns. Late in the fourth quarter, the Rams would tie the game at 20-20, with 5:03 left. The Saints would then drive down the field to the Rams' 13-yard line. It would be 3rd and 10 with 1:49 left, and the Rams had 1 timeout remaining. A first down would end the game. Then this happened.
Quick snap. Breeze. Pass is incomplete. No flag.
It was a missed PI call that would have ended the game. The Saints would kick a field goal to take a 23-20 lead with 1:41 left. The Rams would get the ball, drive down the field, and kick a game-tying 48-yard field goal, making the score 23-23 with 15 seconds left. The game was headed to overtime. In overtime, the Saints would get the ball first. Drew Brees threw a pass while he was getting hit, leading to a floating ball that was intercepted around midfield. The Rams would get a first down, getting to the edge of field goal range. Greg Zuerlein would then kick a game-winning 57-yard field goal to send the Rams to the Super Bowl. This loss felt a bit different from the other playoff losses for New Orleans. This time it felt like something was taken away from them. Nevertheless, the Saints would have another disappointing end to their season. In 2019, the Saints would once again go 13-3 and win the NFC South. However, they would only get the number 3 seed. New Orleans had a crucial Week 14 loss to the 49ers, where they gave up a game-winning field goal at the end to lose 48-46. Had they won this game, they would have had the number 1 seed. It was still an impressive season, as they had the 3rd best scoring offense and the 13th best scoring defense. What was even more impressive was the fact that Drew Brees was injured for 5 games, but the Saints, with backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, went 5-0 in those games. Other contributors include Michael Thomas, who had an NFL record 175 receptions, led the league with 1,725 receiving yards, and made first-team All-Pro. Alvin Kamara had over 1,300 yards from scrimmage, and right tackle Ryan Ramczyk made first-team All-Pro. On defense, middle linebacker Demario Davis made first-team All-Pro, while Cam Jordan had 15.5 sacks, making second-team All-Pro. They also had good special teams, as returner Deontay Artie made first-team All-Pro, while Will Lutz made the Pro Bowl. In the first round of the wildcard, the Saints would go up against the Minnesota Vikings. It was a back-and-forth game in the first half, with each team trading points. At the end of the half, the score was 13-10. In the third quarter, the Vikings would score a touchdown to take a 20-10 lead into the third quarter. New Orleans would come back in the fourth quarter to send the game to overtime with the score tied 20-20. Minnesota would win the coin toss and get the ball first. They would score the game-winning touchdown without Drew Brees ever touching the ball. It was yet another heartbreaking, disappointing end to their season. In 2020, the Saints would go 12-4, winning the NFC South and earning the number 2 seed. New Orleans would have the 5th best scoring offense and defense. Drew Brees was on his way to having a big season, but he would suffer a severe rib injury against the 49ers in Week 10. The Saints, with backup quarterback Taysom Hill, would go 3-1 in his absence. Alvin Kamara would have a great season as he had over 1,600 yards from scrimmage and scored a league-high 21 touchdowns. He would make second-team All-Pro. Demario Davis would have another strong season as he made second-team All-Pro. In the wildcard round, the Saints would take on the Bears. It was a comfortable game for the Saints as they won 21-9. The Saints defense held the Bears to under 250 yards. On offense, Drew Brees had a solid game as he went 28 for 39 for 265 yards with 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara would have over 100 yards from scrimmage as well. In the divisional round, the Saints would face the Buccaneers. In the first half, neither team was able to take control of the game. Both teams would trade scores, and the game was tied 13-13 at halftime. New Orleans would score a touchdown on their first possession in the second half to take a 20-13 lead. They would get the ball back and march their way down the field. On a 3rd and 2 near midfield, Jared Cook would make a catch and fumble the ball, which was recovered by Tampa Bay. This was a crucial play in the game because if Cook continued his run, the Saints would have been in a great position to take a 2-score lead. Instead, the Buccaneers would tie the game at 20-20. Tampa would get the ball back and score a field goal to take a 23-20 lead. Drew Brees would then throw an interception that was returned deep in New Orleans territory. The Bucs would score another touchdown, making it 30-20. Drew Brees would then throw another interception that would essentially end the game. It was a lackluster performance for Brees as he threw for only 134 yards and had 1 touchdown to 3 interceptions. It also looked like the end of an era for Brees and the Saints as he had just turned 42 and suffered a brutal injury earlier in the season. Before the 2021 season began, Drew Brees would retire from the NFL. Brees had a successful run with the New Orleans Saints as he had won a Super Bowl and achieved many statistical accomplishments. There were definitely opportunities to win even more championships, but it goes to show how hard it is to win in the NFL. With the departure of Brees, New Orleans had a QB competition between Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston before the 2021 season. They would name Winston as the starter. The Saints would start 4-2 on the season. Winston had a strong start to the season. During a Week 8 matchup with the Buccaneers, Jameis would suffer a season-ending ACL injury. New Orleans, with Trevor Siemian, would wind up winning the game to go 5-2. However, after this game, they would go on a 5-game losing streak to bring their record to 5-7. They would win 4 out of their last 5 games to finish with a winning record at 9-8. Even though they had a strong finish, they would miss the playoffs. On the season, they had the 19th best scoring offense and the 4th best scoring defense. 4 different quarterbacks started for them that season. The instability at the position was one of the reasons why their offense struggled and why they missed the playoffs. After the 2021 season ended, Sean Payton would announce that he would retire from coaching. The Saints would look in-house for their head coaching vacancy. They would promote defensive coordinator Dennis Allen to head coach. New Orleans would go 7-10 and miss the playoffs during the 2022 season. They had the 9th best scoring defense, but the 22nd best scoring offense. Jameis Winston would start the first 3 games and go 1-2. Then he would suffer a back injury, which would end his season. Backup quarterback Andy Dalton would go 6-8. As a whole, the quarterbacks weren't bad, but they weren't great either. They needed to make a move to improve the QB position. In March of 2023, the Saints would sign free agent quarterback Derek Carr to a 4-year, $150 million contract. Carr would be reuniting with Dennis Allen, who was the head coach during his rookie season with the Raiders. The Saints would start 5-7. They would end the season by winning 4 out of their last 5 games to finish at 9-8. Despite the strong finish, they would miss the playoffs. The Saints had the 9th best scoring offense and the 8th best scoring defense. Carr would have an okay season as he threw for 3,800 yards with 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He would start in all 17 games, but it was later revealed that he had been dealing with shoulder issues for the entire season after his injury in Week 3 against the Packers. These issues prevented Carr from having a great season and possibly kept New Orleans out of the postseason. The Saints would have a great start to their 2024 season. They won their first 2 games and scored more than 40 points in back-to-back games. They would then lose their next 7 games to bring their record to 2-7. Dennis Allen would get fired and interim coach Darren Rizzi would go 3-5. They went 5-12 during the season. They had the 24th best scoring offense and the 19th best scoring defense. Derek Carr got injured and went 5-5 when he was healthy. Saints backup quarterbacks Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner went a combined 0-7 during Carr's absence. It was a disastrous season for the Saints, as they were the second worst team in the NFC. After the 2025 NFL season concluded, former Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore would get hired as the head coach of the Saints. Then, in May 2025, Derek Carr would announce his retirement from the NFL due to his shoulder injury. This brings us to the beginning of the 2025 NFL regular season. With a brand new head coach, the Saints are entering a new era. Even though they have named Spencer Rattler as the starting QB, it is safe to say that they still haven't found their franchise quarterback yet. As far as the front office goes, the Kellen Moore era could be the last straw for general manager Mickey Loomis. It has been 5 years since their last playoff run, and they've gone through multiple head coaches since then. Finally, Gail Benson will remain the owner of the Saints for the rest of her life. In terms of the long-term future, it could take years for the Saints to become Super Bowl contenders. If they do eventually become contenders, can they avenge their postseason failures from years past? This is one of the many questions this franchise faces in their return to becoming part of the NFL's elite.